Media. I'm on Twitter at Mike M Media and on Instagram at Mike Mercado Media. You can follow the good brother Alex Mercado on Twitter at Mercado21Alex and on Instagram at Mercado2121. The lovely Nicole Mancha is on all social media platforms at Typing When Tipsy. You can follow the network on Twitter at Mercado Airwaves. Our pop culture show, The Good Brothers, on Twitter at Good Brothers Pod. Our true crime shows on Instagram at Murder, Mysteries, and More. And of course, like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. You can see all our videos on YouTube.com/Mike Mercado2333 or by searching Mercado Airwaves Network. We play video games on Twitch, twitch.tv/Mercado Airwaves Network. And of course, you can support our network by finding a tier just for you, whether you want early access, you want to be part of polls, you want to win contest prizes, by visiting us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. And we really appreciate it wherever you get your favorite podcast to like, rate, review, and share us.
And here we go.
Get ready, get set for the best movie and pop culture talk in the universe. It's The Good Brothers on Mercado Airwaves with your hosts, Alex Mercado and Mike Mercado.
Welcome in, friends, to another episode of The Good Brothers here on the Mercado Airwaves Network. I'm your host, Mike Mercado, and I want to thank you so much for making us a part of your day. I am riding solo today as the good brother himself. Alex Mercado is on assignment as the kids get ready for another big competition season. And if you guys have been binge watching cheer, you know how important that is. But I will make sure to take care of you on this episode. Make sure you get all the latest news and talk that's happening in the pop culture and entertaining world. I'll give you my review of one of the favorites in this Academy Award season as I watch 1917. We also have to talk about that new Fast 9 trailer that just hit the internet. A lot of news coming in the production world, along with some pretty upsetting news for Star Wars fans and Marvel fans when it comes to stuff that you should be getting on the network in 2020. But before we get to all that, and before we get to box office results and what's coming up this weekend, we have to talk a little bit about what happened this past Sunday in California as Kobe Bryant, his daughter Gigi, and 7 others died in a helicopter crash in Calabasas, California. And if you missed it, I had a live reaction to when the news broke. I was actually at the radio station when it happened. And at this point, when we're putting this episode out, everybody's talked about it. There's not really much else you can say about this scenario. It's very sad. The news was very tragic. It also showed a lot of people that you have to be careful when information's going out there, to do the due diligence, to make sure that you're venting this information and these sources. But either way, it was a tragedy, and the way the NBA responded, the way these teams were doing the 8-second half-court violations and the 24-second shot clock violations, the story of LeBron James passing him in the points record literally, 2 days before it happened, it happening on his way to go with his daughter to this basketball camp, these basketball games. And we know with that famous gift that's gone around, that famous video of Kobe talking to Gigi and explaining, and they're both kind of bonding over basketball, him being on podcasts and interviews talking about his daughter and how much he loves women's sports. At this point now, his moving on and how it impacted the entertainment and movie world, he won an Academy Award for his short film that animated Dear Basketball, Dear Kobe. And it's pretty unbelievable that how impactful it is. And I think for a lot of people, it's lessons are learned when situations like this happen. The first thing is people will grieve in their own way. Whether you met them or not, people have impact in other people's lives. Also, it brings a lot of memories up. It brings a lot of feelings up. It makes you realize your own mortality. That even these rich people, even these supreme athletes, these people that seem indestructible are just flesh and bone like yourself. And I understand that it's hard sometimes to see a lot of different talk and a lot of different praising going on. And here's the elephant in the room. You cannot talk about Kobe Bryant without his legacy entirely, including the rape charge in Colorado. It is what it is. You have to mention it. Now, there's a lot of things that go around that too. He wasn't criminally found guilty, but he did have money, or at least did settle out of court in a civil trial. So you have to take that into account, right? then you also have to be fair. There was never anything after that, or at least publicly. And we've seen his impact in women's sports. So I wonder how we're going to talk about this as we move forward. And once the newness and the wound has kind of healed a little bit more when it comes to the way people are mourning. It's going to be interesting to see how Chicago handles this with the All-Star game being here in just a few weeks. We saw that the Willis Tower had the gold and purple. Madison Square Garden did it. Brooklyn did it. A bunch of different cities paid homage to Kobe Bryant, and it can't get lost. The impact of the 8 other lives lost. The 7 when you're including Gigi and Kobe together. It's a tragedy. Parents just trying to get their kids on time to these camps. Kids just trying to live their best life, not getting the chance to live their life. And it's a tragedy. It's sad. And I don't think this is the time to be bringing up, what about it? Why aren't you talking about soldiers? And why aren't you talking about civil servants? And I mean, you don't become a soldier or a police officer or firefighter to get the glory, right? Like at least family members of mine who are police officers, who are in the armed forces, that's not why they do it. So I think it's a little, you twist it around a little bit and you could paint a narrative in a really bad way. But it's a complicated thing to talk about his legacy. It is. What's not complicated is to talk about the tragedy of 9 lives lost in a helicopter crash and what was the surrounding circumstances. So that is what we're at right now at this point with the death of Kobe Bryant. And obviously we'll talk more about it as the weeks and the year and the years go on Sports from the Couch. But this is the biggest story that we're going to have in all of sports of 2020. It's not going anywhere. This is the biggest story. And we'll see how it not only impacts the rest of not only the sports world, but in the entertainment world. We'll see if he's going to be in the memoriam in this year's Oscars. But our condolences to the families that lost loved ones that Sunday morning in California that also took the life of Kobe and Gigi Bryant. And we do our best to transition onto what is a horrible story to the rest of the show. Hopefully we can be a distraction for you if you're going through a hard time, if it brings up hard memories whenever you see the death of a celebrity. So we try to be your distraction here on The Good Brothers. And we start off the show like we do every show by going to the movies and checking out the box office that was. And at number 1 was still Bad Boys for Life, bringing in another $34 million. At 2, 1917, you'll get my review of that movie in just a little bit, bringing in another $15 million. Doolittle at $12 million, coming in at number 3. Number 4, opening up this weekend, The Gentleman, making $10 million. A lot of good reviews on it. Didn't make a lot of money. Kind of a shame. Matthew McConaughey and Charlie Hunnam. And it's kind of a shame, but we'll see how it performs as the weeks go on. At number 5, Jumanji. At 6, opening up this weekend, The Turning with a 6. No, just about 7 million opening up this weekend. At 7, Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. At 8, Little Women. At 9, Just Mercy. And at number 10, Knives Out. And this weekend, you can spend your money on a few movies. Gretel and Hansel coming out worldwide. And you can also see the Rhythm section with Blake Lively, an action drama mystery thriller, kind of a James Bond-esque type of movie, but a slower week in the box office, so it's your good chance to check out some of the Oscar favorites this year. Go check out 1917. Go check out Knives Out. Go check out Parasite, Jojo Rabbit. But I also got a chance to see Bad Boys for Life in 1917 this week. So we get into my thoughts of, we'll start off with the one that's most fresh. I went to go see Bad Boys for Life, and I have to be honest with you guys, I really loved it. It was a very charming movie. Martin Lawrence actually, I thought, gave a great performance, was right back to his old charming self. I obviously loved Will Smith. Will Smith was at peak Will Smith, if that makes any sense. He was charming. He had the charisma of an action star. There was a groundness to it, and I really did enjoy this Bad Boys movie. It had a lot of Fast and the Furious mixed into it. Not over the top, but just enough. And it really is fascinating to see that the Good Brother and I were talking about who is this movie for. And it kind of hit the nostalgia bone a little bit, it was definitely part of that wave, but it also just did a good job of being a really cool action movie. And being a really cool, it's what you would expect a movie like a Lethal Weapon remake or reboot to be. It's what you expect these buddy cop movies that, at their purest, what they should be. This movie's not going to win any Oscars. It's not going to be this huge dynamite billion-dollar film. But it's a hell of a run. It's a hell of a home run. And like I said last week, this was a win for Will Smith. And watching this movie, I double down on that. This was a huge win for Will Smith. And a big win for Martin Lawrence. I really hope that he gets cast in a few movies. He was very good in this movie. Very funny. I really enjoyed this movie. It's definitely, if you're into the Fast movies, if you're into the Hobbs and Shaw movie, I think you will really enjoy Bad Boys for Life. I give it a solid 7.5 out of 10. Really enjoyed it, and I think you guys will as well. I also got a chance to check out 1917, and it was everything we thought it was going to be. Phenomenal movie. It solidified my opinion that the Good Brother and I had last week. This is a 2-movie race. I believe it comes down to 1917 and Parasite. I do think Parasite's still the better movie, but we did just see that 1917 did win Best Director. It also won Best Film. We have this point now, Parasite has done that as well in some of the major ones. So I think it's a pick'em. Good Brother Alex is going to go with 1917. I'm going with Parasite. It's a very interesting dynamic we're seeing this year, a 2-movie race. But 1917, great war movie. I think if you're into those type of movies, Saving Private Ryan, or any type of Dunkirk, anything that has to deal with the emotion of seeing a soldier go through certain elements, certain growing pains, it has great swerves. It has great cameos. It's emotionally draining in all the right ways. I think 1917 deserves all the accolades it's going to get, even if it includes proving me wrong and winning the awards I don't think it's going to win. Sam Mendes did a great job directing it. The cinematography is amazing in it. So at 1917, impressive movie. Parasite, 1917 are definitely my 1 and 2 of 2019. And to me, it solidifies the fact that both those movies should be the favorites going into the Oscars. So we found out that John Cena is Vin Diesel's brother. That's right, the new Fast trailer has come out, and these movies just keep anteing it up. We see that John Cena is this long-lost brother of Dom, and we're going to end up having this collision of family. And it looks like he found another rock. So Fast 9, Dom has a kid with, can't think of her, Michelle Rodriguez, and we're going all in this one. And I'm bringing everybody back, and then Justice for Han has finally paid off as the tease, that very end, the tag of the trailer. So I thought it would look like a pretty fun trailer. I thought at first that kid was going to be Bryant's kid. But it's Dom's kid, so we'll see how that plays off. We do see Dom's sister in this. So my real question is, this movie, whatever. It's going to make a bunch of money. It's going to be fun. That's all great. What are we doing with The Rock? Is Hobbs and Shaw a series they're going to run on their own now? Is everybody coming back together for Fast 10? You would think so. It's Fast and the Furious 10. You would have to bring everybody together as much as you can. Hell, they're bringing it back on. The only guy they haven't brought back is old boy for Tokyo Drift. So I'm fascinated to see how that plays out. I thought it was a fun trailer. I think the more Fast and Hobbs and Shaw, the better. I think John Cena is finally getting a chance to get a little bit more in these cool roles for him. It didn't really work out for Doolittle as him as the polar bear, but I think we'll see this plays out really fun. And the Fast Furious are just fun movies. So we'll see how it plays out. In some production news, we have some movies coming out that are in at least the works when it comes to scripts. First, we found out Bambi is coming back to torment another generation as it is getting the live remake reaction as Bambi is coming down the slate. I'm not a huge Bambi fan, not even because of anything that was scared of watching the mom get shot, whatever. Like, it's an okay movie to me. I think Thumper is kind of cool, but Bambi's just alright. Well, honestly, at this point, they've made some money, especially Aladdin and Lion King, but I really want to see what Mulan does. That movie looks like it can be one of these epic, Oscar-worthy movies. Coming out in March, so really interesting to see its placement there. I think if they thought it would be an Academy Award-winning movie, they would put it in November. But sure enough, we're at this point now where it's coming out in March, actually just, 6 weeks or so? So I'm really fascinated to see that. But Bambi is now getting the remake treatment. We also found out some news about Bumblebee and another Transformers movie are actually being worked out right now simultaneously. 2 scripts. I believe Bumblebee 2 will be one. Maybe a Dinobots movie. Maybe another Optimus Prime movie. But we do know that the last one, at least the Bumblebee movie, pretty damn good. And the other ones have made a lot of money. So it's only a matter of time until they do come back. So it'll be interesting to see who they have in the writer's room and the director's chair for these new movies. So it looks like every single time Lucasfilm, the Star Wars universe, Kathleen Kennedy, have had an opportunity to have some good public, some goodwill from the trolls themselves, which I don't think is very much possible anymore. But then we get this news that the Obi-Wan series has essentially been put on hold, or at least for hiatus for now. The news is the series headed for Disney Plus, according to multiple reports. The show's development has been put on hold, or at least delayed, while Lucasfilms retools the scripts and possibly cuts the episode count from 6 to 4. That's not good news. Again, this is coming down to, we're talking about CEOs, we're talking about big name companies. How many more mistakes can this front office of Star Wars continue to do? How do you not have everything ready, set, willing to go? Disney Plus isn't something that just came out of nowhere. The fact that The Mandalorian ended, and we've had this huge gap in between marquee big shows. And now, mind you, you're only charging people $7 a month. But at some point, even the nerdiest of nerds, the diehard of diehard Disney fans, will have to say, like, I can't keep spending this money. I can't keep investing this money on an app that just lays there time after time. Now, it's cool to be able to put on The Simpsons. It's cool to be able to watch some of these documentaries. But your heavy hitters haven't been here yet. You've had one. And then there's even talk about Falcon and Winter Soldier being pushed back. And then we saw the Sebastian Stan tweet where he's talking about it's not all that great to begin with. So Disney Plus, as much as people are talking about all these other things that Marvel has done great, which they have, this Obi-Wan news is just kind of a microcosm of the problem that's happening right now with this app. You know, you can't count on Marvel to save you both in the cinematic, universe and then now your streaming universe. The one thing I do fault is you've known this app is coming. Why hasn't anything been in development since? Did you not think it was going to be this big of a hit? Those are the questions that, as a consumer, and then as a critic, you kind of just merge in together and it makes you wonder what's going on up there. If a simpleton like myself can question, why haven't we been doing this long? All this information that we've had, it's not like Kathleen Kennedy or Kevin Feige didn't know Disney Plus was coming. So I find that a little interesting that now, especially after the success that was in Mandalorian, now we're getting this news that it's been put on hold. We got to fix the script. How long have you not had this idea about Obi-Wan? For 20 years? Come on. And then Marvel now also announcing that they've canceled the Howard the Duck and the Tigra and Dazzler animated shows on Hulu. Not the biggest of news. But again, just talking about where is the content for your network. When WWE came out with their network, you got the guarantee every month you were going to get one pay-per-view. That's where your $9.99 was going to. And then on top of the library. That's great. But you knew you were going to get something new. That's all I'm asking for Disney Plus. Hell, right now, the marquee network for the Cubs is going through a lot of turbulence because you don't know what channel it's going to be on. You don't know what network is going to be on. You don't know what provider is going to be on. And you have no idea what how the service is going to be, if it's going to be available online. So it's an interesting time right now. We're seeing through these streaming wars. And with this Obi-Wan news, it's just a little disappointing that when it did hit, The Mandalorian was a great series worth the investment of the app. I just want to see that continue. Especially if you're going to be charging people and you already have all this money in IP. And finally, before we get out of here, we have ourselves a Royal Rumble to get through. Charlotte Flair and Drew McIntyre are going to WrestleMania, each one respectively winning their Royal Rumble match. Edge coming back after, 9 years from neck injuries. I thought it was a great show. Brock Lesnar dominated in the beginning. The Keith Lee stuff was really cool. MVP coming back. I thought Becky versus Asuka was a great match. I thought it was a great pay-per-view. Again, a little long. They're all a little long when they're 4.5 hours. But I had a great time. I thought the angles on Raw were really good when we saw Randy Orton and Edge, and then with Brock and Drew. So I'm fascinated to see, now that we're on the road to WrestleMania, the rest of the card, how it's going to play out, what's going to happen with Undertaker, what's NXT's involvement. But Drew McIntyre, I think, was a great pick to win. I didn't have him, but I think that's a great guy that they put over. I like that they have Roman Reigns be the one that's the final guy because he gets that big pop for it. So, and then obviously Charlotte, it's only the third time, so now Becky, well, at least Asuka was the first one, Becky the second, and now Charlotte, your third ever Women's Royal Rumble winner. Only makes sense. And if we do get Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte, like some of the rumors are saying, all in on that. But I think that was a great showing of Royal Rumble weekend. Had a fun time. Always one of my favorite pay-per-views. So I give it an 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. Almost as good as it could get. Real honestly. Besides all it being surprises and the most indie of indie darlings winning, I think it was some of the most fun you could have had watching a Royal Rumble match. But that'll do for us on this episode of The Good Brothers. Make sure you're following us all over social media. I'm on Twitter at Mike M Media and on Instagram at Mike Mercado Media. The Good Brother is on Twitter at Mercado21Alex and on Instagram at Mercado2121. You can follow the lovely Nicole Mancha on all the socials at Typing When Tipsy. The network's on Twitter at Mercado Airwaves, and this show's at Good Brothers Pod. Make sure you follow the True Crime Show on Instagram at Murder, Mysteries, and More. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. We're on YouTube.com/Mike Mercado 2333. And of course, come play video games on Twitch, twitch.tv/Mercado Airwaves. Like, rate, review, and share us wherever you get your favorite podcast at Mercado Airwaves. It really means the world to us. You helped us grow so much in 2019. So we expect us to give you the best show we have to earn us the right to do the same in 2020. And of course, patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves, the home of our interviews with athletes and celebrities that you get before anybody else. With early access, you can support the network on a different way. Patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. For the Good Brother himself, Alex Mercado, I'm Mike Mercado. We'll see you in the next episode of The Good Brothers here on the Mercado Airwaves Network.